My fiance Derek and I are both in our late 20s, and we're child-free. No kids, no plans on kids. He supported me through getting my bachelor's in nursing school, and now I'm supporting him through college. We live in a moderately cramped studio and are saving for a down payment on a nice house outside the city. Derek's dad and stepmother, his half-brother's mother, died in a horrific accident that I don't want to name or specify for privacy reasons. I'm trying my best to support Derek through this, and I've taken over funeral planning. Unfortunately, his dad and stepmother were both broke, and I'm currently paying for the funeral out of pocket. No one in his family can contribute. Since the accident, his brother, a young teen, has been at their aunt's house. He hates it there. Apparently, he has to sleep on the floor, and she has 5 young kids that she makes him babysit. I feel for the kid. I'm sure it's awful. Derek wants to have his brother move in with us, but I'm not comfortable sharing a room with this boy that I've met twice. I also don't want to support him. That's at least a 6-year commitment that I never signed up for. I don't even want kids. Derek has suggested we move into a bigger apartment, but our studio is about as cheap as it gets in the city. We lucked out and have been here for 5 years, and the landlord has never raised the rent. So if we move, it'll probably cost around $3,000 to move, and an extra $1,000 per month at least, not to mention an extra mouth to feed, school clothes and supplies to buy, etc. It doesn't feel fair to me at all, and I feel like Derek is using the fact that he supported me for 4 years against me. Yes, he supported me, but it was much cheaper to pay for 2 people in a studio apartment than to support 3 in a bigger, more expensive place. So the deal was for him to support me and for me to support him, not him and his brother. He just started school this semester. He has essentially 4 more years to go. That's 4 years of me having to support a household. And what if we break up? I'll have spent 4 years supporting a kid that I don't want for nothing back. I suggested Derek drop out of school and get a job so he can contribute if he wants to support his brother. And I said that I'd pay for him to go back to school after his brother graduates high school. Derek doesn't want to put off college for another 6 years, which I don't necessarily blame him. But his brother will be safe and fed at his aunt's house. According to both of them, that isn't good enough. I grew up in foster care, and I didn't always have somewhere safe to stay. So I guess I'm biased. Am I the idiot for not wanting to support my fiance's younger brother? Oh wow, what a terrible situation. Your reasoning is fair. You didn't want kids, didn't sign up for kids. Your life is not set up for kids. But that's his brother, and he feels responsible for caring for his family. So if you marry this man, his burdens become yours and vice versa. This kid is a very young teen. I'm sure that he wishes his parents weren't dead. You are the idiot. You're well within your rights, but being technically correct doesn't preclude you from being an idiot. I feel exactly the same way. And also, bad things happen in life. It sucks. It sucks a lot. It's messy. It's often not what you signed up for, but that's just life. Imagine if something life-altering happens to you, and your husband suddenly says, "I didn't sign up for this." I won't be making any more lifelong commitments to her if she's going to bail when things get tough. Just FYI, on the finance side, the kid would likely qualify for deceased parents' benefits, which might help with the food and the rent. I could never turn away my significant other's sibling in such a desperate situation, but technically no. I guess you don't owe it to him or anyone. Heads up though, I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up a deal breaker in your relationship. Update 1. Am I the idiot for not wanting to support my fiance's younger brother? So I did the math on the cost of him supporting me versus me supporting him and his brother, and made an Excel sheet and everything. On average, he spent about $1,400 a month supporting us over the years I was in school, give or take. My presence cost him an additional $300 a month than if he were to live in the studio alone. So essentially, feeding me and paying for the basics cost him around $15,000 over the 4 years I was in school. We really have scraped by the last several years. No eating out, no Christmas gifts, etc. I've already paid $10,000 for his parents' funeral. Moving would cost around $3,000, and that alone would cost nearly as much as he spent on supporting me. If we moved to an average 2-bedroom apartment in the area, our monthly expenses would be roughly around $2,700, and that's without me buying anything nice for his brother, no school trips, no decent clothes, etc. It would cost me around $1,200 currently to live alone in our studio. So he was paying roughly $300 additional a month to provide for me, whereas in the future, I'd be paying at least $1,500 a month to provide for him and his brother. It's just not even comparable. Not the idiot at all. This is a huge commitment. Your fiancé doesn't want to make any adjustments or contributions. He wants you to support both of them in a situation that's not currently ideal. Who's to say he'll like your place any better? Your fiancé needs to bring more to the table. But you did the math, and if it's correct, he spent $15,000 spread out over 4 years. You're expected to pay a lump sum, pay $10,000 for the funeral, plus $3,000 for moving, plus new furniture, more expensive rent, all in a few months. You'd be paying all of this. You're expected to essentially drop the same amount he did over 4 years right now, plus support him and the kid for another 4 to 6 years. Tell him you can pick up the tab for the move and the funeral, but it makes you even, and he'll need a job to pay his share and the kids right now. He's not willing to compromise anything. This is a big ask and a big change of plans. Heck, he didn't even offer to get a part-time job to cover the cost of the kid. Just expects that you would be covering everything still. I'm probably going to get hate for this, but his whole family left a very young teen behind with absolutely nothing set aside to provide for him, and then expect you to work it out. If you're adamantly opposed to raising children, period, then you must convey that to your boyfriend and prepare to break up immediately. Update 2. Am I the idiot for not wanting to support my fiancé's younger brother? So Derek came home and we had a long 2-hour or so chat about what taking on this child would entail. I showed him my Excel sheet that I made of what expenses would look like. I suggested he delay school so he could work to support his brother or look into Social Security benefits and get a part-time job to cover his brother's expenses. He put his foot down and said that since I didn't have to work while I went to school, he shouldn't have to either. He thinks that since we're engaged, my money is his money. I asked what caring for his brother would be like and how he'd even get him to school, how he would make time to cook for his brother, help him with homework, etc. He said that with both of us working together, we could figure something out. Ultimately, I don't want a child. I've been child-free for a reason. It's because I care about my free time and money. I told him the only way I'd agree to take in his brother and move would be if he at least got a part-time job that covered the roughly $1,100 difference between what I'm spending to support us both right now and the cost of a larger apartment and an extra person to be responsible for. He would also need to agree to take sole responsibility for parenting him. I don't want to take him back and forth to school every day, be responsible for making sure he eats, etc. Long story short, Derek gave me an ultimatum: support him and his brother or we split. It was pretty clear he was bluffing, but I agreed. Our rental agreement is month to month, so I told him I'd let our landlord know I'd be out before the first of the month. He could take over the rental agreement. I'm currently packing my stuff to go stay with a friend, but I should be able to find a place pretty soon. Derek has been begging me to stay. He has no job or way to pay for rent next month, so I offered to calculate what I owe him for supporting me, and after doing some math on what I've spent the last 4 months, including the funeral expenses, I'll be sending him roughly $3,500. It should hold him over for at least 2 months, enough time for him to find a job. He's been begging me to stay, but I don't think I will. The fact that he gave me an ultimatum like that feels gross. He wasn't willing to work at all, and I honestly think he would have pushed all the responsibilities of raising his brother off on me. Never thought I'd be in this position, but I'll be fine. At least I can finally adopt a cat after wanting one my whole life. Derek hates cats. I may be reading this wrong, but it very much seems like your ex-fiancé wanted the glory but none of the work. He wanted to take in his brother and receive praise for taking in the poor boy, without ever actually having the responsibility of raising a child. And not only that, but he doesn't even want to contribute to the financial cost of his brother. If the roles were reversed, would he be happy to spend the extra $1,100 per month for your family member to live with you? He's not choosing his brother over you. He gave her an ultimatum, never even thinking she would leave. He thought she would bow her head and support him and raise his brother for him while he felt good about himself and went to school and didn't work. What actually happened is OP chose herself. So now Derek has to get a job no matter what, and will probably have to choose between his brother or school. My guess is he chooses school because he came off as a selfish, lazy idiot. What do you think? This right here. Now that he has to do it all by himself, who wants to bet that he suddenly can't take the kid in anymore? Then he's going to try and get OP back since the kid is no longer an issue. The dude is selfish and he deserves to be alone. OP, you go get that cat and live your best life. Ultimatums never work out. And honestly, you're so right that his attitude says that you would have been responsible for everything in the future. My fiancé, male 27, and I, female 27, are getting married in early April. We're planning a big wedding with the help of both of our parents financing. We invited all our friends and family, including our siblings and their kids. My fiancé and I are very excited about our wedding. Regarding the dress code, my fiancé and I are very laid back. We just want people to dress up in a suit, dress, or something else fancy. We couldn't care less about the color or design and encourage our guests to dress creatively, colorfully, or over the top. My fiancé and I are both creative people. I'm an art teacher and he works in advertising. We want people to express themselves. And while we're okay with traditional color wedding outfits, we only want them being worn if it's truly something our guests like. I have many siblings and many nieces and nephews. My older sister and her husband, both 40, have 6 kids. I still live close to all of my siblings, so my fiancé and I have a close relationship with them and know that they're excited about our wedding. My young teen nephew is a good kid, has great grades, and is the athlete of the family. As with most middle school boys, dressing up in a suit isn't exactly his favorite thing to do. And about a month ago, my sister called me, telling me he was giving them issues when suit shopping. So I sat down with him and talked to see if everything was okay. He said he didn't like anything he saw, and I told him to ask his friends for advice. About a week after, I got a text from my nephew asking what I thought of his outfit idea. He wanted to go with a sports theme. He wanted to wear a normal dress shirt and pants, but for his blazer, have his favorite NFL team on it, a lacrosse tie, and baseball cufflinks. He found all this online and sent links. He told us his mom said no, and then asked my opinion on it. I showed it to my fiancé, and we both agreed it was acceptable, and we'd love to see him in it if that's what made him happy. A few hours later, I got a call from my sister asking why I would approve it after she said no, and complained about how the outfit could reflect on her, and how my nephew needed to learn proper wedding attire. So I asked her and my nephew out to lunch the next day so we could settle it out. We went out to lunch, and my nephew and sister were explaining how his friends recommended it, and how he wanted to express his love for sports after explaining it to him that this isn't normal wedding attire. Still, my fiancé and I wanted people to be creative, so my sister agreed to buy it, and they just got all the stuff in the mail, and he loves it. My sister is still upset at me for trying to overrule her parenting, and when talking to one of our other siblings, male 38, he agreed with her that I had overstepped my boundaries. My fiancé and I are just happy nephew found a nice outfit that he likes. Am I the idiot? He told us his mom said no. You are the idiot. This is classic kid behavior, running to another resource. Mom versus dad, parents versus grandparents, etc. when you've already been given your answer. Your response at most should have been, well, let me touch base with your mom about it. And even that might be crossing the line for her, depending on your history here. As a mom, I just saw a money issue. Something like a suit is something I'd want to buy for my son for multiple occasions. The cufflinks and lacrosse tie I would be okay with. However, the NFL suit jacket, I would have said no to them as well. Although it's perfectly acceptable for your wedding, it would not be in the case for a funeral, or say a confirmation at church. You are the idiot for prioritizing being the cool aunt right off the bat without considering that your sister's concerns might not just be her being uncool or uptight, but trying to be practical and a good parent, and think beyond the one occasion of your wedding. Parenting is having to think 10 steps ahead, and you just made her life way more difficult because you don't have to do any of the heavy lifting she does and can just think about the fun parts. You owe her an apology. Won't a young teen outgrow a suit in like 6 months anyway? Look, the kid went to the event organizer and cleared the dress code with them. Isn't that what an adult is supposed to do? That's how you get kids who have safe spaces to explore their creativity. The actual people getting married wanted people to have fun and be creative and approved of the outfit. You'd have a point if this wedding required him to be dressy. My mom got remarried after my parents' divorce, and her new husband brought along my stepsister. I lived with my dad mostly because I didn't want anything to do with a new sibling and had no relationship with her. I hated that my mom treated her like a daughter. I wasn't the nicest to her, but I felt like she was taking my place. Fast forward to now and she's getting married. I wasn't invited since we have no relationship. Whatever, I didn't invite her to mine either. The issue is I'm planning my daughter's first birthday, and when I told my mom, she said it couldn't be that day because it's my stepsister's wedding, and can we change it to the next weekend so people don't have to choose which to go to? I said no. My stepsister's wedding is at 8 p.m., and my daughter's birthday is at 1 p.m. People can do both, but almost everyone on my mom's side RSVP'd no to my kid's birthday party because of the wedding and travel. Even my own mother said she couldn't make it because she'd be at stepsister's wedding and getting ready all day. I'm angry about how she can choose a stepdaughter over her own grandchild. Everyone is picking this girl who isn't even really family over my daughter. My mom says just to change the party, but I think it's ridiculous that they can't do both and won't change my schedule for my stepsister. And my daughter will be the one to suffer when none of her family's at her first birthday party. Am I the idiot? My mom is taking on the mother role in the wedding since stepsister's mother died giving birth to her, which I'm also not happy about. So stepsister's mom died in childbirth, and OP is annoyed that her mom decided to be a mom to a kid who lost her own mom? Holy smokes! She's considered your mother's child whether you like it or not, and you might need to move past it. How horrible of a person do you have to be? OP, you are the idiot, again and again. You know it, we know it, everyone knows it. People aren't simply going to do both events. Very few people want to come to a 1-year-old's birthday party and then go to an adult wedding. You knew about the conflict and went ahead with it anyway, despite the fact that moving it would not affect your child in any way. You're trying to play the victim here when this is all under your control. Please seek therapy. Yep, first birthday parties are solely for the parents. The children have no clue what's going on. They have no concept of what a birthday is. Your daughter will not suffer because her family isn't present. Your daughter will have no idea what's going on and no memory of her first birthday party. She has no concept of time, so reschedule to a different day, as requested, if it's so important for your family to attend. Your daughter will suffer as she gets older because you're petty and have unresolved issues that should be dealt with in counseling. In addition, your daughter will suffer if you attempt to weaponize her as an instrument in your guilt in your war with your stepsister. Grow up. My first name is the street my mom grew up on. My middle name is where I was conceived. My last name is a noun. It feels like a Mad Lib. I've never felt any intense way towards my name, other than wishing I had a girlier name when I was a kid. But I've always felt a little frustrated at the fact that my mom named me like one of those security question scams on Facebook. My siblings were all named a bit more normally. Anyways, my sister's pregnant and didn't want a baby shower, so we had a nice dinner for her 3 days ago instead. We got onto the topic of names, and my family started giving their input, and I told her, you could always take mom's approach and just do a Mad Lib. My sister laughs and my mom throws herself on the table and burst into tears. She starts wailing about how she didn't know I hated my name so much, how awful she is as a parent, and how I should just change my name and be done with her. My siblings and I console her, or try to, and after like 20 minutes with no success, my sister tells me I should leave so I don't upset her anymore. My boyfriend, together for 3 years, is fuming the whole way home, saying I knew that would upset her and I put him in an awkward spot. He's been frustrated with me since. My sister also says I did it on purpose to upset her. We've always had a rocky relationship, and that I ruined her dinner because I was jealous of her for having a baby. I'm not. My other siblings have mostly stayed out of it, but told me to apologize to our mom, which I did. I called her and told her how sorry I was, and that I did like my name, and she started saying I don't need to lie to spare an old woman's feelings, and that she should be apologizing to me for, quote, saddling me with such a burden. I tried some more, but she just kept wallowing. Ever since dinner, she's been making 3 to 4 Facebook posts per day about how she's a bad mom and grateful that her children still love her, despite all her failures. My family has started reaching out, trying to be sure everything's okay. I didn't mean to say it maliciously. I genuinely harbor no ill will toward my mother. However, I feel like everything has spiraled out of control, and I feel like there's some weird revenge thing that she's trying to do. But was I mean enough to deserve the revenge? Was I that out of line? Am I the idiot for saying my mom named me like a Mad Libs? Not the idiot. You made a joke, and your mom was a drama queen about it. She's made this all about her, and is reaping a whole lot of sympathy for it. It's bizarre for everyone to just jump to her defense like that. Does she do this sort of thing a lot? Next time she pulls that crap and says, "Sorry I'm such a bad parent," just say, "Not as sorry as I am," with a dead face. You made a joke. A joke. I joke about my name all the time. Jesus, your whole family sounds like a nightmare, especially your mom. I see where your sister got it from. And tell your boyfriend to stay out of your family drama. Nothing you did impacts him in any way. No one's blaming him for this. What is wrong with everyone in this story? OP, you need some better people in your life. My goodness, there's a lot to unpack here. This was the first big issue I spotted. Why is boyfriend making this about him? And your mother sounds like the one who was jealous about your sister's baby and all the attention she's getting and not you. You made an innocent joke. Unless you regularly harp on this and have bitterly complained to all your siblings for years, your mother's reaction and theirs seems a bit disproportional. I'm really confused why everybody from mom to boyfriend is being so dramatic about this. What am I missing? Honey, I'm going to say this as gently as I can. Your family is emotionally abusive. Your boyfriend is emotionally abusive. Please, if you do nothing else, speak to a therapist. Look closely at the horrified looks they won't be able to avoid when you tell them these funny anecdotes. Everything you've told us of the jokes your family plays and your position in the family screams of emotional abuse. Your mother's behavior is abhorrent and damaging, and you're following the pattern you were taught about your whole life. It has nothing to do with your name. It has to do with you being the one who always apologizes and always goes out of her way for them, always makes herself small for them. I include your boyfriend here. Please, please, please reach out to a therapist. Update. Am I the idiot for saying my mom named me like a Mad Libs? A lot of people have said I hadn't given a full picture, and I have, of the event in question. But here's the even fuller picture. I'm the black sheep of our family. I'm the oldest of 6, and my dad's only child. He died when I was less than a year old. My mom remarried when I was 5, and my stepdad didn't want much to do with me. He said it was too late for me to be his child, and I've always felt out of place in my family. Everyone in my family is very athletic. I'm really not. Everyone in my family is very musical. I'm really not. I've always felt a little left out from everyone else, and they make sure I don't forget it. I got left behind a lot because I, quote, wouldn't enjoy things as much and would frequently be left out of family activities by accident. I got into many arguments with my mom and stepdad, especially as a teenager, because I turned my sad feelings into angry ones, but I've grown out of them. I've always had ambivalent relationships with my siblings, but they're very clearly more loyal to their parents than me. I did not anticipate my siblings would take my side in this at all. They typically choose to support their parents and leave me out to dry. I genuinely don't hate my name. I feel ambivalent about it, and I've never commented on this before. I used to tell her I wanted to be a Hannah or a Kate, but never said anything about the actual way I was named. If I'd known it would hurt her, I wouldn't have said it, even if just to avoid the fuss. My boyfriend is a textbook people pleaser. He thinks my fighting with my mother is reflected poorly on him and that my family dislikes him now. So, for the most part, we've taken to ignoring the issue, but he's been sad reacting to my mom's Facebook post, which kind of makes me angry. There's actually an amusing family photo from my teen years where everyone else knew we were taking a picture except me. So my whole family is color coordinated in nice clothes, and I'm wearing some old concert tee and ratty jeans. It was always my prime source when I needed to represent how I felt in my family. Dude, you've got to dump your boyfriend. If he's such a people pleaser, why does he not care about pleasing you? He's more concerned with your family who treats you like crap. No, thank you. Time to ditch him and cut off the family. You don't deserve to be their punching bag. That makes much more sense. It definitely felt like there was a big part left out that could have given us a better understanding of everyone's reactions. Your boyfriend is not a people pleaser. He's worried about himself. He's selfish, and I hope you recognize that this is a red flag. But kudos for your patience, because at this point, I'd have changed my name, gone low to no contact with the whole family, and ditched the spineless, self-centered boyfriend. With a family like that, who needs enemies? Yeah, honestly, if I were you, I'd tell him exactly once, to shape up or ship out. That story about the family picture is sad, in that perfect, funny, pathos kind of way. And the fact that your partner's enabling that BS is just about the least attractive thing I've ever heard of. Update number 2. Am I the idiot for saying my mom named me like a Mad Libs? Hey everyone, I didn't change my name, but I did change my whole life around though. I wanted to post this update for many reasons, but mainly to express my gratitude. It's been over a year since my original post. I didn't have a lot of friends at the time, and most of them were my boyfriend's friends. I truly didn't feel like I had anyone else to go to about this, so I'm thankful to everyone who took the time to reply to my original post and provide insight. It was a lot to sift through and honestly really painful. It felt like I was finally being validated after years of gaslighting myself. I always felt that something was wrong, but I pushed it aside to be a part of the family. The period after I posted was truly one of the lowest of my life, but also the most empowering. A lot of people told me to cut out my boyfriend, but I didn't see the point. I didn't understand the accusations of narcissism. But when I sat down with him and explained how badly his siding with my mom hurt me, how it hurt to watch him turn against me when I needed support, his response was, "You did this to yourself." That was the light bulb moment I needed. So we broke up and I moved in with my brother to get back on my feet. There were a lot of recommendations to go no contact with my mom, but I had a tough time with the idea of it. Talking it over with her was mostly unsuccessful. She kept degrading herself and sending me all these backhanded apologies that made me feel worse. Everything ended in me apologizing. My sister had her baby. The whole family visited her and she told us the name, Top 10 Very Traditional. My mom commented about me scaring her out of exercise and creativity without any crocodile tears or hysterics. It was pure hostility from her, and it was another light bulb. I brushed it off, apologized to my sister, stuck around for another 30 minutes, and that was it. That was the last time I spoke to my mom. My brother harassed me about it, so I moved out of his place and into an extended stay hotel. I got a job a few states away, got an apartment, packed up my life, and pretty much entirely started over. I haven't spoken to any of my family members in almost a year. There has been a lot of therapy, as recommended. It's been a painful, sad, lonely, and frustrating experience, but I'm also so much better off. I have new friends, I like my job a lot better now, and I'm creating my own weird little family with my pets, a family that I'm a part of. Again, thank you to everyone who provided input. Not exactly the happiest update, but for the better. What an uplifting update. It must have been tough for you, but you should be proud of yourself for taking such brave steps and building a better, happier life. I know it doesn't feel like it, but you won. I wish you the best of luck. OP, you are truly a strong person for no longer being willing to put up with such toxicity from your mom, siblings, and boyfriend, who I still don't understand why even needed to be involved in this whole thing. So many people, including me, likely wouldn't have had the strength and determination to completely change your life for a much better future. You're awesome. I'm a 36-year-old male. I have 7 nieces and nephews from 3 sisters, and we spend a lot of time together. I don't have kids of my own yet. I was an Army doctor for 3 years and then suffered an injury. I had to relearn to walk, talk, and do most things I used to find normal. I was in a coma for almost a month. This was 5 years ago. Each year, I celebrate the anniversary of the day I finally woke up, like my rebirthday or something. I always invite my parents and sisters with their families. Last week, I had the party and got the cake. My niece, a kindergartner, just recently broke her leg, a really complicated fracture, and is miserable about it. So at the party, I jokingly told her, "We're now the same. I walk with a cane, and she needs help standing up too." She found it amusing and said, "We're both superheroes now." I then told her to blow out the candles instead of me. It made her really happy. My nephew, younger tween, then threw a tantrum, called her a baby for complaining, and said he wanted to blow the candles out. I tried to move past it and told him he could have the first piece of cake. To that he said, "You and niece can shove the cake and eat crap." Wow. I said that wasn't nice, and he needed to apologize. He refused to, and then his mom, my sister, told me just to let it go and serve the cake. I said he needed to apologize or he couldn't have cake. He started screaming and crying and ran out of the kitchen. My sister says I'm an idiot for picking a fight with a kid over cake. Am I really the idiot? Geez, not the idiot. I understand kids make mistakes and are learning their way around the world, but what on earth? The nephew told you and his little sister to shove your cake and eat crap? Oh no, you didn't pick a fight with your nephew. He's a spoiled little brat who not only deserved no cake at all, but should have been sent home or to a timeout room. Judging from the mom's reaction, I'm not surprised he acts like an entitled brat. Little man came unglued over not being able to blow the candles out. His mother wasn't going to parent him and call him out on his behavior, so someone had to. You're not picking a fight over the cake. You're correcting a kid for displaying disrespectful behavior, throwing a tantrum, and being downright mean. Your sister needs to get it together and parent her son because he's learning he can get away with this action because of her inaction. Also, massive respect to you for your service and your strength and resilience coming back from that terrible injury. A few years ago, I was going to a conference, so I asked my sister if she could watch my dogs while I was away. She said she would do it if I paid her, so I hired a service instead. Yes, I could have paid her, but it would have required me to go pick up her unemployed butt from my parents' house and let her stay in my house eating my food and drinking my alcohol. This service came in, fed, and walked my dogs. When I moved out of our parents' home, my friends helped me, but not her. She was busy doing schoolwork. She said she'd take a break if I paid her for her time. She was watching TV. When she moved in with her boyfriend, now husband, I helped her out. She never even bought pizza and a beer. She's an amateur photographer, but pretty great, to be honest. When I got married, it was a small thing in my parents' backyard. To save money, I did everything with friends and family. My aunt lent me her wedding dress, and one of my friends made the cake. Everyone pitched in to decorate and set up and clean up. I asked if she could take the wedding pictures. She said only if I paid. So I got a bunch of disposable cameras, used those for candid shots, and paid a photographer for the ceremony and formals only. I now make enough money that I can afford to make my life easier by just paying for whatever I need. And this is what I do for most stuff now. I still do favors for friends and they often return them. My sister ended up with a nice guy and they're getting married soon. She called me last week and asked if I could watch her kids so they could go on vacation. Her husband's parents got sick and ours moved to Florida. So I said I would if she paid me. She can afford it. But now it's all about how family helps each other out. I reminded her of all the times I asked her for help, and she said I was being petty and vindictive. She tried getting my parents on her side, but they told her that she had set the ground rules for our relationship. Now she's on social media, trying to get her friends to make me feel guilty about not helping family. I probably should have responded, but I did, saying that her friends were also available to help her out for free. But I guess she burned a few bridges there too, and some called her out for always wanting to be paid for a favor. It's become a huge mess. Am I the idiot? Karma moment, not the idiot. What goes around comes around. She didn't want to help you without getting paid, so you're treating her the way she treats you. Your parents are right. She made the mess, so she can clean it up herself. The double standards speak volumes, and her going on social media clearly backfired. You were right in responding. Honestly, I wouldn't trust her at all. Blocking her on social media can help too. So she got plenty of chances to help family, and all of these were responded to with, "Pay me." This is a clear case of you made your bed, and even your parents agree she's wrong. The only thing I would maybe do differently here would be just to tell her and list all the requests for help you have given her and her standard response to those requests. So basically, she trained you in how to respond. How can she be mad about this? She sounds like a selfish witch with a capital B, and everybody knows it. Apparently, you're not the only one who's had this experience with her. She's dug her own grave with you and a bunch of others, so let her bury herself in it. I can't stand people like her.